Okay, we're live. So hi everyone, welcome to this third edition of the Rack Europe Hangouts. So today we have Sid from the Gatsby core team. Hi Sid, how are you doing?
Hi, Patrick. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So today we'll have a little demo from Sid who will talk to us about new features, upcoming features coming to Gatsby, and then we will take some questions from the audience if you have any, and feel free to ask anything on the comment section or on Twitter. That's okay. Um, I'm happy also to announce that Sid will be giving the Gatsby workshop with Josh Como at the conference. So if you're interested, you can check out on the website rackeurope.org. And yeah, I think that's it. I will let Sid share his screen and he will do the demo. Are you
Yep,
are you ready?
yep, I'm ready. Thanks, Patrick. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay, there you go. So I think that's working. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, great. So I have three demos, not
Um,
one. So that's exciting.
for now, I'm seeing myself for now.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
right, right. So I have three demos today, and so I have three little terminal windows open, and this is exciting because we've been doing a lot of work back in the Gatsby core team around making Gatsby more performant, making it more accessible, and making it faster, and making it scale. Right. So all three demos today are up and coming things in Gatsby. One of them is released already, and the other two will come soon. So let's get to the first one. The first one is accessible client-side routing. Um, we've seen on Twitter and in general a lot of chatter about how client-side routing and client-side JavaScript apps aren't exactly very accessible, and that's true because typically your browser will, if you're someone who uses a screen reader, your browser will typically tell you when you navigate between pages, and when you navigate between server side pages, that works just out of the box. But with client side routing and with most of the frameworks today with React, it just doesn't work, and it's a terrible it's I mean, it's something we miss out on when building JavaScript client side apps, right? In Gatsby, very recently, Madeline from the core team just added support for um, narrating page changes. And this is honestly a huge win for accessibility. So let me demo that. Right here, I have a Gatsby site. I used the Gatsby starter blog to set this up. And you can see that it's just a plain old Gatsby site. And now I built it and I'm serving it on localhost 9000. If you take a look at Safari, this is what the Gatsby starter blog looks like. I'm going to go ahead and turn on VoiceOver. And if you're using a Mac, if you're using Safari, VoiceOver is an inbuilt app that lets you test your site with screen readers. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on VoiceOver, and that's Command F5. And now that I've turned VoiceOver on, it should narrate. All right, there you go. I'm going to mute the speech just so that it's not too, because I know that you all can't hear that because I have headphones on, but you should be able to read whatever VoiceOver would tell you on this window right here. Now I'm on the home page, and when I navigate to another page, you'll see that it'll say navigated to new beginnings, right? And this is a huge win because typically with client-side React apps, you just don't get this out of the box. So on Gatsby, we've gone ahead and built support for this in the framework itself. So if you're using Gatsby after version, I reckon 218 or 219, I'll link to the blog post that Madeline wrote after this call. But if you're using the latest Gatsby, you get support for this out of the box, and this is great in terms of accessibility for your users. So you'll see that I can navigate between pages, and it says navigate it to my second post, and then back to the home page, it says navigate it to Gatsby starter blog. I can go to another page, it says navigate it to hello world. And remember, all of this navigation that we're seeing is client side React and client side JavaScript, right? So that was my first demo. That's accessible client side routing. It's already in Gatsby. My next demo, which is the second tab, is something that's super exciting and something that we've been hearing a lot about for a really long time. People have been talking about the idea of doing incremental builds in Gatsby, and that's been one of the bottlenecks when people want to build really large sites. The fact that every time you make a change and you have to rebuild the site, it has to rebuild every single page. And yeah, so that's been a huge bottleneck, and people have been talking about optimizing that for a really long time. And recently, what we now have in Gatsby, this is not out yet. This is in progress. There's a PR open which I will link to, but I have it set up on an example site on my local machine. And if I go ahead and just run yarn build, let me turn off voiceover because we don't. There you go. All right. So if I just run yarn build, you'll see that there's a couple of env variables that are passed in for Gatsby to listen on changes.
Could you zoom a bit? Could you zoom in?
Yes, absolutely. Is this better?
A bit more.
A bit more.
Okay.
How about this?
Yeah, that's
All right, great. So in this case right now, I already had the site built out, so nothing was really built at all because there were no changes. So let me just go ahead and clean that so that we have a fresh, clean slate. So I'm going to run yarn build, which is going to run Gatsby build with the in progress sort of PR version that we have locally right now for this change. And you'll see that this will build out a couple of pages. In this case, it's built out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. All right. So now let's go ahead and make a change. This is the site, and it's called PR21523 for the lack of a better name. And it's got a folder called content with a blog folder within it. And in the blog folder, there are a couple of markdown files. All right. So this is the file for the Hello World blog post. And I'm going to go ahead and make a change on this and say that see you at React Europe in Paris. All right. And now that I've made this change and I hit save, I'm going to go back and run yarn build again. Let's see what pages get built this time. Now, right now, if you use Gatsby that's out and released from NPM, Gatsby will rebuild every single page because that's how Gatsby has worked up until recently and does right now. But with this local version, you see that it now says built pages were only 2 of them. It only built Hello World, which is the page we changed, and it built the index page because that happens to list all these pages. So that would have had to change as well because this content changed. And you'll notice how that took you know roughly the same amount of time, which is odd. And this should actually take significantly lesser time. Like I said, this is a work in progress PR, but the cool thing here is that we're only building out the pages that have changed, and this is huge for the Jamstack. This is huge because you have sites with over 10,000 pages, and if you're only updating one page, this should be significantly faster as a build. So yeah, that's what we're calling optimized page building. There's a PR open. I will link to it. That's the second demo. Finally, let's talk about the third one. Now, in this case, I'm not running this on my local machine. I'm actually running this on an AWS instance. The reason I'm doing that is because this is sort of this demo will talk about performance and how we've been improving that in Gatsby. And I didn't want it to run on my local machine because that would be affected by everything else I'm running. So this is a cleaner sort of, place to run it. So what this example is that I have a Gatsby site. It's called IFSC. And the reason it's called IFSC is because it's a benchmark site that lists IFSC codes. In India, IFSC codes are codes that our banks use to connect with each other. And there's many of them, obviously, because we have a lot of banks. Now, what this benchmark site is going to do is that I'm going to run Gatsby build on a really, really large site. In this case, 10,000 pages. And what we're going to see is how long that takes. Now, these are all this stuff is already out. It's already released. We released this in Gatsby 2.19.17, which I think is 1 or 2 versions behind the latest release right now. I will link to this after this call as well. But as you will see now, I'm going to bump up the font on the terminal again. And when I run yarn bench, which is
could you zoom a bit more?
A bit more?
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah.
All right, great. So I'm just gonna go to history because there you go. So this is the script we are running. As you can see, n is equal to 10,000. Basically, we're sort of auto-generating 10,000 pages. M is the amount of memory that we'll allow it to use. We want to make sure Gatsby doesn't use too much memory, so that's something we've been benchmarking and working on improving as well. But anyway, let's go ahead and run this and see how long this takes. Remember, this is 10,000 pages. It created a bunch of CSVs that it made up on its own. All right. Now it's transforming and sourcing nodes. As you can see, it's now creating pages. It already finished creating pages. It called it for 10,000 pages at 5,646 pages per second. So it took basically 1.8 seconds to build 10,000 pages. And now it's extracting queries from all of those pages. There you go. Now it's running those queries. You'll see that those queries, it had to run 10,002 queries, and it took 15 seconds to run it, which is about 664 roughly queries per second. Now this is a lot faster. As you can see, the entire site built in 39 seconds. That's 39 seconds for a site with 10,000 pages. This is a huge improvement. And Peter, who works on our team, who joined a couple of months ago, has been working on performance in Gatsby. And there's a lot more to come. And this is just the beginning. But what we've planned for this year is to really get Gatsby to be the fastest and the most scalable way to build Jamstack sites. And I'll be talking about this and a lot more at my talk at React Europe. And that's the demos.
Okay, very cool. Thanks, Sid. This was very exciting. Could you tell us a
Thank
bit
you.
about how did you get those 1,000 queries a second? What did you do to reach this speed?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Peter, who works on our team, has one of the things he's doing as in the process of trying to speed Gatsby up is that he's creating a benchmark setup for us to be able to benchmark sites that are built not only by us but also sites that are built in the open. So there's a plugin that you can install which will send data, benchmarking data to our benchmarking service. And I mean, amongst other things, a lot of these are really tiny micro optimizations around the data structures in which we store our nodes and how we run queries. One of the things that has significantly sped up querying, which is what this demo is a result of, is adding indexes to our querying. I mean, as you might already know, what Gatsby does with your data when you have source plugins is that it takes data from different sources and creates an in-memory database of sorts. And often querying is much faster when you have indexing, and that's what databases do to make querying faster. So a lot of what we are doing is actually almost implementing a database. In this case, we auto-generate indexes for anything where we see that there's more than, there's significant amount of queries. We go ahead and we auto-generate indexes, and that typically results in practically 100x improvements. Like in this case, you can build 10,000 sites within about 40 seconds because of the addition of indexes. So that's one of the things that we're doing amongst a lot more.
Okay, very cool. That's very interesting. Do you have you also mentioned in your second demo the experimental page build optimization? So could you tell us a bit about how did you work on this one?
So this is something that I want to give a shout out to the folks from Interactive Investor. We have a couple of contributors, Stuart being one of them, who have opened this PR, and we've had I'm going to link to the PR in the chat right now. I'm not sure if anybody else is on this call, but you could probably relay that over. So here is the PR, and I'm gonna yeah, please do that. And I'm gonna obviously tweet about this as well after this call. But this is a PR that was opened by folks from the community, which is honestly huge because Gatsby is a community project. We've received over about, I think, 5,000 contributions in 2019. I wrote more about this on our latest blog post at Gatsby.js.org, which I will also tweet about. But So yeah, this started off as a community contribution, and we also pair with the community on features and contributions that are, uh, you know, complex like this one. Mikhail from our team and Ward from our team have been pairing with the folks who opened this PR, and have been working with them to make this happen. This is honestly huge because incremental page building is something that people have been asking for and talking for a really long time. This is just one step, though, in the entire spectrum of making builds faster. And again, this is super experimental because there are lots of edge cases which might or might not get handled by this. But yeah, I would urge you to take a look at the PR to see what we're doing. Leave your comments and keep tracking it to see what else we do with this.
Okay, and um, many people were thinking that incremental building would only come to Gatsby Cloud. So is this something that will ship as part of open source also? Is that what you're saying? Is that
Yes. So I think this has been a conversation that has come up many times, and incremental builds is most definitely something that we're working on right now. In the context of Gatsby Cloud. However, I think the point to note here is that incremental builds is typically a spectrum, and it's not really an absolute. There are many steps involved in making a build incrementally more incremental, if I can say so. And the PR that I just demoed is open source. It is coming to Gatsby Core in OSS, and it is one step forward in making building your Gatsby apps more incremental. There's a lot more to come there. Some of it which will come to Gatsby Cloud enabled by stuff on the cloud, and some of it which will most definitely come to Core as well. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
yes? Thanks. Well, I guess there is still a lot of work to be done, and I'm looking forward to it. We are using Gatsby Cloud for the React Europe website, and we've seen amazing speed improvements when building it. So thanks for that.
Glad to hear that.
How has the launch gone for Gatsby Cloud? Was it successful? Did you get a lot of feedback?
Yep, it's been super successful because we've seen a lot of people jumping on it. We've seen a lot of people using it within hours of the launch blog post. People have said that the Gatsby builds have gotten upwards of 10x to 15x faster. This is most definitely the fastest way to build Gatsby in the cloud today, and we've had great feedback. Of course, there's always more work left to be done, so we're still working on being able to support more edge cases and being able to add stuff that people are asking for, incremental builds being one of them. And but yeah, so far the launch has been great, and there's a lot more to come, so I'd say look forward to that. And yeah, I'm super excited. So is everyone else on the team.
Okay, very cool. So is there anything else you would like to add before we end the hangout, or?
No, I think this is good. I hope you all enjoyed the demos. I will talk a lot more about this stuff at React Europe as a part of my talk. I also published a blog post recently about everything that we've done in Gatsby in 2019. So I urge you to go and take a look and read that blog post. I'll link to it again. Sorry, I'll tweet about it again after this call. And yeah, there's a lot more to come in 2020. So if you like Gatsby and if you use it, please feel free to reach out to me anytime on Twitter about your questions or about your feedback. We also have a Discord channel, a Discord server. The link to it is, let me type it in right now so that Patrick can put it in chat. This is the link to our Discord server. A lot of us from the core team hang out there. So if you'd like to talk to us, Discord is a great way to get in touch. So yeah, please feel free. And thank you for having me, Patrick. This
Thanks.
has been great. Looking forward to seeing you
Okay.
in France.
Okay.
And yeah,
See you
thanks
then.
again.
Thanks everyone for watching, and if you like the content, don't forget to click the subscribe button below so we can do more of this. And hope to see you at the conference. Thanks.
Yep.
Cheers.
See you.
See you.
Cheers.
Bye.